some machines do not just move us. They challenge what we think is possible. They are not quiet, subtle, or apologetic. They make a statement every time they start up, and they tell the world that performance is not a relic of the past. This story is about one of those machines, born at the edge of change and built to push the limits of power, speed, and engineering. It is a moment when tradition and innovation collide in the most spectacular way possible, when decades of heritage meet the science of acceleration. And at the center of it all stands a car that represents the end of an era yet refuses to go quietly. We are about to explore how that car became a benchmark for modern performance, and what it tells us about the future of driving. Before we dive into its story, remember to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments what legendary machine you want us to cover next. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 begins its story as a machine born from extremes. It was not designed to compete in quiet categories but to redefine what a street-legal car could accomplish. When Dodge introduced this final edition of the Challenger line, the world of performance enthusiasts knew something monumental was coming. The name Demon already carried a reputation from its earlier 2018 iteration, a car that stunned the market by offering a drag strip level of power straight from the factory. Yet the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 was on another level entirely. It was engineered to push every mechanical, regulatory, and physical boundary that a modern muscle car could reach. Dodge called it the farewell performance, and it would become one of the most audacious send-offs in automotive history. To understand how this happened, we need to revisit the philosophy that shaped the Challenger series itself. Since its rebirth in the late 2000s, the Challenger represented raw, unapologetic power when most of the industry began downsizing and electrifying. It stayed wide, heavy, and intimidating, carrying the spirit of 1970s muscle into a new century. Where others leaned into hybrid assistance and precision efficiency, the Challenger doubled down on displacement, torque, and a visual attitude that screamed defiance. The Demon 170 became the ultimate embodiment of that mindset. It was a statement that said, if the era of gasoline performance is ending, it will not fade gently. The engineering behind the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 reads like a checklist of improbabilities. Its 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 delivers up to 1,025 horsepower and 945 pound-feet of torque when running on E85 ethanol fuel. Those numbers shattered industry expectations for a factory-built, street-legal car on production tires. The secret was not only raw displacement but an entirely reimagined air and fuel delivery system that allowed the engine to breathe deeper and burn cleaner at higher output. Dodge's engineers effectively rebalanced the car's soul, tuning every component from the blower to the fuel injectors to create a powertrain that borders on drag racing insanity yet retains drivability on public roads. Acceleration was where the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 made headlines. With launch assist systems tuned to near perfection, it could reach 60 miles per hour in just 1.66 seconds. That figure was so quick that it required special certification from the National Hot Rod Association to prove that the numbers were legitimate. Under controlled conditions, the car's front wheels could momentarily lift off the ground, a visual proof of its incredible torque delivery. Yet Dodge emphasized that this was not a track-only vehicle. It could idle in traffic, handle daily commutes, and still return to the strip to post world-beating times. That duality was central to its legend. But power without control is meaningless, and the chassis team had to engineer solutions that kept the car manageable. The Demon 170 inherited the wide-body stance of its predecessors, but introduced refined suspension tuning that adapted to variable grip surfaces. The suspension's response rate and adaptive damping allowed drivers to switch between street comfort and drag optimization in seconds. Tire choice played an equally critical role. Dodge partnered with specialists to design a street-legal radial capable of transferring over 1,000 horsepower without melting into useless rubber. That tire became one of the unsung heroes of the package, holding the delicate balance between chaos and precision. Beyond hardware, the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 also showcased a new attitude toward fuel technology. By embracing ethanol blends, Dodge leveraged a renewable resource to unlock higher octane potential, a clever response to tightening emission standards without compromising power. On regular premium gasoline, output dropped slightly but still surpassed nearly every competitor in its class. It was a subtle nod that performance could adapt without losing its essence. The engineers were not ignoring the future. They were proving that innovation could extend the lifespan of internal combustion a little longer. The aesthetics of the Demon 170 followed the philosophy of performance through presence. The body retained its muscular silhouette but introduced subtle aerodynamic enhancements. The hood scoop grew larger, the stance more aggressive, the detailing sharper. Inside, buyers could strip it down to its bare essentials or outfit it with full amenities. That choice reflected the dual personality of the car, either a lightweight drag tool or a luxurious grand tourer with ridiculous power on tap. The customization options made each unit a reflection of its owner's intent, reinforcing its appeal as both collectible and practical performance. Every aspect of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 tells a story of precision in excess. The drivetrain components were built to handle abuse levels that few production vehicles ever experience. The transmission system was tuned to shift under extreme load with consistent reliability, and the driveshafts were upgraded to prevent failure under launch torque. Even the cooling systems were redesigned. Maintaining stable temperatures under quarter-mile pressure runs became a top priority. Dodge understood that 1,000 horsepower means nothing if the car overheats halfway down the strip. From the driver's seat, the experience of operating a Demon 170 was as much about confidence as it was about capability. The vehicle delivered its power in predictable stages. The traction management and stability systems provided a safety net without removing the thrill. It was accessible in Sanity, a machine that made anyone feel like they were piloting the peak of combustion evolution. That accessibility separated it from many hypercars of similar output, which often demanded professional skill or million-dollar maintenance. Dodge offered all of that in a package that still looked like an American muscle car, with a price tag closer to an exotic sports sedan than a boutique supercar. The psychology behind the Demon 170's development reveals something deeper about Dodge's strategy. This was not merely a marketing stunt, it was a deliberate act of brand preservation. As the company prepared to pivot toward electrified performance, it needed a statement vehicle that would immortalize its combustion heritage. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 became that bridge. A model that linked the raw, mechanical world of supercharged V8s with a precision and control that future electric performance will rely upon. It reminded fans that innovation could honor tradition rather than replace it. What makes the Demon 170 even more fascinating is how it challenged perceptions of legality and practicality. Many believed that such power levels would never pass regulatory scrutiny or reliability standards. Yet Dodge achieved both, proving that meticulous engineering could coexist with spectacle. The car met safety and emission requirements, carried a factory warranty, and could be purchased at a dealership. That combination transformed it from a novelty into a landmark moment in production car history. It proved that the spirit of the muscle car could evolve rather than vanish. As the Challenger line drew to a close, the Demon 170 became the ceremonial crown. Production numbers were limited, creating instant collector interest, but beyond rarity lay the emotional significance. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 entered its development phase under immense pressure. Dodge had already proven that it could produce record-breaking muscle cars, but this time the stakes were higher. The company was preparing to transition its lineup toward electrification, and the Challenger nameplate was nearing retirement. The engineering team understood that their final act with a supercharged Hemi had to be extraordinary. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 would therefore serve as the definitive expression of what internal combustion could achieve when pushed to its absolute edge. To reach that goal, the team started by re-engineering the engine block itself. While the base 6.2-liter architecture was familiar, nearly every internal component was upgraded to handle higher pressures and more intense combustion cycles. Pistons were forged from stronger alloys, connecting rods were strengthened, and the crankshaft was treated to withstand the immense torque loads. The fuel system, one of the major breakthroughs, introduced a new injector design capable of delivering a precise blend suitable for E85 ethanol. This change allowed the engine to harness ethanol's cooling and octane benefits, unlocking the now famous 1,025 horsepower figure. It was not simply about adding power. It was about creating a sustainable method for producing it repeatedly and reliably. Thermal management was another critical area of focus. The engineers behind the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 knew that a 1,000 horsepower engine would generate heat levels that could easily compromise performance or cause mechanical fatigue. To prevent that, They redesigned the cooling circuits and implemented a new intercooler configuration that maximized airflow efficiency. The result was a system capable of maintaining stable intake temperatures even under extended high-load runs. The process required thousands of hours of dynamometer testing and real-world validation. Each system was stress-tested to ensure it could survive repeated launches without degradation. The outcome was not only powerful but resilient, a key requirement for any street-legal machine of this magnitude. Chassis development followed the same philosophy. Build strength without losing agility. The Challenger platform was never known for its lightness, but Dodge engineers refined weight distribution and introduced adaptive suspension geometry to manage the massive torque transfer. The front structure was reinforced to absorb the violent lift that occurred during full-throttle launches. Special bushings, dampers, and spring rates were calibrated to control pitch and maintain traction. The wide-body architecture gave the car the stability it needed, while the adaptive Bilstein shocks adjusted behavior in milliseconds to surface changes. Every suspension choice reflected one guiding principle: let the driver feel the power without ever losing command. Traction technology became one of the greatest achievements of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170. Traditional muscle cars often suffered from excessive wheel spin, but this car turned grip into an art form. The integrated trans brake system allowed drivers to pre-load torque before launch, ensuring maximum traction when released. Combined with an advanced launch control module and bespoke drag radial tires, it created a near-perfect connection between mechanical force and pavement. The moment the throttle was floored, the car transferred power so efficiently that acceleration felt almost supernatural. Drivers described it as a controlled surge rather than chaos. That predictability was intentional. It transformed what could have been a brutal experience into one of precision. Inside the cabin, Dodge's approach balanced modern functionality with a sense of purpose. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 could be ordered in minimalist drag configuration or with full comfort amenities. Either way, the cockpit layout prioritized driver engagement. Performance pages displayed real-time data such as G-forces, reaction times, and power output. The seat bolstering was optimized for launch stability while maintaining long-distance comfort. Materials were chosen to withstand repeated use under high acceleration, emphasizing durability over luxury excess. Even the steering system was retuned for immediate response, giving the driver a sense of intimacy with the car's immense mechanical output. Aerodynamics played a more subtle yet equally vital role. Although muscle cars are known for brute force rather than downforce, Dodge sculpted the 2023 Challenger SRT Demon 170 with wind management in mind. The front splitter and functional hood scoop directed air for optimal engine cooling, while the rear spoiler contributed to high-speed stability. Every vent, contour, and channel served a mechanical purpose. There were no ornamental elements. The car's body, still unmistakably muscular, conveyed raw intent. It did not need radical wings or fins to assert its dominance. Its presence alone was a declaration of speed. The result of this combined engineering and design effort was a machine that could outperform nearly every production vehicle in straight-line acceleration while maintaining road legality. That phrase, road legality, became crucial to the car's legend. Achieving these numbers without breaching safety or emissions requirements required a level of technical finesse that few automakers could manage. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 stood as proof that compliance did not have to compromise thrill. It demonstrated how technology, when applied creatively, could extend the boundaries of what enthusiasts thought possible. During the development process, Dodge faced an internal debate. How much technology should intervene in the driving experience? Too much electronic control could sterilize the sensation. Too little could make the car unsafe for everyday use. The solution was to create a layered assistance system that could adapt to driver skill. Beginners could rely on traction management and stability control, while seasoned racers could disable them for full manual command. This flexibility turned the Demon 170 into both an educational tool and a professional weapon. It gave owners the freedom to grow with the car, discovering new limits over time. The business side of this project was equally calculated. Dodge knew the 2023 Challenger SRT Demon 170 would not be a volume seller. Production was intentionally limited to maintain exclusivity and celebrate the end of an era. Yet the car's impact extended far beyond sales numbers. It became a marketing beacon for the brand, a rolling symbol of what Dodge stood for: boldness, individuality, and mechanical audacity. It drew crowds to dealerships and reminded the industry that emotional connections still mattered in the age of quiet efficiency. Every unit sold carried not just horsepower but history. The global reception to the car was immediate and intense. Critics and enthusiasts debated whether it represented the pinnacle of muscle or the final gasp of an outdated philosophy. Many saw it as both. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 embodied contradiction. It was forward-thinking in engineering yet nostalgic in spirit. It used renewable fuel blends while celebrating the combustion roar that future generations may never experience again. That paradox gave it a cultural weight that extended beyond automotive circles. It became a commentary on progress itself. The legacy of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 begins with the way it redefined the idea of performance itself. For decades, muscle cars were measured by displacement and raw horsepower, but the Demon 170 introduced precision, strategy, and a form of engineering discipline rarely associated with brute force. It demonstrated that even in the twilight of internal combustion, innovation could thrive. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 is remembered not simply as the most powerful muscle car ever built, but as the one that turned excess into a controlled science. When the car reached owners and enthusiasts, it instantly became a symbol of mechanical pride. This was not a vehicle for quiet admiration. It demanded to be driven, experienced, and understood. At events and exhibitions across the country, the presence of the Demon 170 drew crowds that felt more like ceremonies than car shows. People wanted to witness what 1,000 horsepower looked like in motion, and more importantly, they wanted to feel the vibration of an era's final heartbeat. The Challenger name had carried generations of stories, and this final form gave it a proper send-off. It was the curtain call of American muscle at its loudest and most sophisticated moment. Collectors immediately recognized that this car was destined for legend. The combination of limited production, historical importance, and unmatched performance made it a must-have centerpiece for any serious enthusiast. But even among collectors, there was a shared understanding that the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 represented more than value. It represented identity. It was proof that an automaker could still dare to build something irrationally bold in an increasingly cautious industry. The car's legacy became a reminder that passion still has a place in the modern marketplace, that soul still matters even as technology takes the wheel. For the broader industry, the Demon 170 forced a reckoning. It showed that audiences still care about emotion, storytelling, and sensory connection. Many manufacturers had assumed that electrification meant the end of automotive excitement, but Dodge proved otherwise. The brand leveraged the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 not as a relic but as a declaration. Innovation and emotion are not opposites. This message rippled through marketing departments and engineering divisions everywhere. It inspired renewed discussions about how to make future electric vehicles deliver comparable excitement, how to make performance feel alive again. From a cultural standpoint, the car bridged generations. Older enthusiasts saw in it a reminder of their youth, the era when horsepower ruled and fuel economy was an afterthought. Younger fans viewed it as an artifact of rebellion, a mechanical time capsule representing freedom of expression. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 unified both groups through shared awe. It turned parking lots into classrooms, where veterans of the muscle era explained superchargers to curious teenagers raised on electric cars. That exchange of passion became one of its most enduring legacies. The environmental conversation surrounding the Demon 170 added another layer to its impact. Critics questioned the relevance of producing a 1,000-horsepower gasoline car during a global shift toward sustainability. But Dodge had a strategic answer. By using E85 ethanol, the car demonstrated that renewable fuels could deliver high performance while reducing emissions compared to traditional gasoline. It was a transitional gesture, a recognition of changing priorities without surrendering the essence of power. In this way, the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 stood at the crossroads of the old and the new, symbolizing a thoughtful approach to progress. Economically, the car also played an unexpected role. Despite its limited run, the Demon 170 helped sustain interest in Dodge showrooms and boosted the image of American manufacturing at a time when global brands dominated the conversation. It proved that domestic engineering could still set global benchmarks. The car's production process involved precision assembly, rigorous quality control, and domestic craftsmanship that became a point of national pride. It reminded consumers that American performance is not defined by nostalgia alone, but by continual reinvention. Perhaps the most significant aspect of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170's legacy is its emotional resonance. Every engine sound, every launch, every glowing taillight carried meaning. It was not just the end of the Challenger line. It was a collective farewell from everyone who ever fell in love with the feeling of acceleration. It gave closure to a community that had grown around combustion power, yet it did so in a way that celebrated life rather than mourning loss. That emotional clarity is why its story continues to be told long after the last unit left the factory. The Demon 170's legacy also influences how we think about the concept of limits. In an era obsessed with restraint, this car dared to test boundaries responsibly. It asked engineers, regulators, and enthusiasts alike, how far can we go while still playing by the rules? That question continues to echo across performance divisions worldwide. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 became a reference point, a measuring stick for ambition. When future vehicles are judged by their innovation and daring, they will inevitably be compared to what Dodge accomplished here. It is impossible to separate the legacy of the Demon 170 from its emotional symbolism. It stood for independence, defiance, and craft. It reminded drivers that a car can be more than a means of transport. It can be an extension of identity. For many, owning or even witnessing this car was a transformative experience. It reignited dormant passions, sparked conversations between generations, and restored faith in the artistry of mechanical engineering. The car's resonance extends far beyond performance statistics. It resides in the collective imagination of anyone who values motion as emotion. As time passes, the rarity of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 will only magnify its myth. Museums, private collections, and automotive documentaries will continue to revisit its story. It will be remembered as the turning point where muscle met science, where nostalgia met progress, and where a single car summarized half a century of American automotive evolution. For those who drove it, the experience will remain unforgettable. For those who missed it, the legend will continue to inspire what comes next. In the final analysis, the Demon 170's greatest contribution lies in its timing. It arrived at the perfect moment, when the world needed a reminder that power and emotion still belong in the conversation about the future. It showed that technology should enhance experience, not erase it. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 became both a monument and a message. That innovation, when driven by passion, can produce masterpieces even at the edge of change. In our closing segment, we will reflect on what the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 ultimately means for the human connection to machines, how it reshaped our perception of performance heritage, and why its farewell might be the beginning of something even greater. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 leaves behind more than a set of performance records. It leaves behind a philosophy. Its story is a reminder that progress does not always mean erasing the past. Instead, progress can mean honoring the craft, courage, and creativity that got us here. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 taught the world that the emotional link between humans and machines is not bound by fuel type or power source. It is bound by passion. As we look ahead, its influence will ripple through the next generation of performance vehicles. Engineers who worked on the Demon 170 now apply its lessons to electric drivetrains, refining torque control and energy delivery with the same care once given to superchargers. The connection between driver and machine will evolve, but the intensity will remain. Dodge has already hinted that the spirit of the Demon will return in electric form, carrying forward the same defiant energy that defined its combustion counterpart. That continuity is what gives this farewell lasting meaning. It is not a full stop, but a comma before the next chapter. Culturally, the car's impact continues to grow. Owners form communities that celebrate not just the machine but what it represents. The idea that authenticity and innovation can coexist. Events dedicated to the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 are more than showcases of speed. They are celebrations of craftsmanship, design, and the human pursuit of excellence. The car has become a symbol of refusing to settle for mediocrity, a reminder that even in an era of automation, individuality still matters. For enthusiasts, the lesson is clear. The thrill of performance will never vanish, only transform. Whether future vehicles use electricity, hydrogen, or something entirely new, the emotional essence that the Demon 170 captured will remain the benchmark. It showed us that technology can elevate emotion rather than suppress it. Every time a driver feels instant acceleration in an electric car or precise torque distribution through software, a small part of that sensation can be traced back to the engineering philosophy refined in this Challenger. Ultimately, the legacy of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 is not confined to muscle car history. It belongs to the broader narrative of human ambition. It stands as proof that limits are invitations to innovate, and that endings can carry the momentum of beginnings. The car will always represent the moment when Dodge took one final, fearless step before turning the page. It captured lightning in a bottle, literally and figuratively, and handed it to the next generation as a source of inspiration. If there is one takeaway, it is this: progress and nostalgia are not enemies. They are partners in the ongoing story of innovation. The 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170 proved that performance can be both modern and meaningful, both responsible and rebellious. It gave us one last surge of thunder before the silence of transition, and that echo will endure wherever people still believe that machines can move the soul. Thank you for joining this deep dive into one of the most remarkable machines ever produced. If you enjoyed exploring the story of the 2023 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon 170, remember to like the video, subscribe for more in-depth automotive stories, and tell us in the comments which legendary machine you want to see next.